threatening to sue. What has the Electoral Commission got to say about it? We are waiting for them to give us an official response. There's a pending court case. An injunction is in full force, but the Electoral Commission has still gone ahead to begin the process. What will the courts say? What do you say, or what will you say? You join us on the hashtag Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Later, when we activate the phone lines, you get a chance to also talk to us. We'll get into the camp of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, leading a couple of political parties to raise the red flags. In fact, some youth organizers are asking for a complete boycott of the exercise to register their displeasure. Will the Electoral Commission listen? Would they not listen? And if they decide not to listen, what will be the response of the public? But here's a wrap on the voters' exercise. Listen.
Residents of remote communities along the Volta Lake, including Domiabra, Batokope, Jatakpo, are concerned about the high cost and risk of traveling from their villages to Yeji. Boat fares are high.
Market day no, Yeji 50 Ghana.
It will cost one person at least 140 cedis to travel to Yeji. Aside that, it's the risk involved in the lake travel, feeding, and even the guarantor system. It may even happen that you may not get the chance to be registered the same day. EC must listen to us and follow the previous steps. This makes it financially burdensome for those without a Ghana card to travel to registration centers with their two guarantors.
We cannot come to Yeji for the registration exercise. We can't risk putting our children in boats on this dangerous lake all alone for voter registration. The EC must come to our local station like they did in 2020.
3FM Sunrise.
Sunrise on 3.
The registration in the Skadu Ketan constituency has been fraught with a lot of problems. I mean, the problem I got here maybe around 5:30. Since we came, there is no comfort, there is no tent, the sun was out, now it's about to rain, there's no chairs, there's everything. So once we saw that, we brought chairs with the 3 tents behind us, we brought all 3 of them. They started around 8 something. By 8:15, 8:30, one of the machines was broken. There are 2 machines. One was broken, so only one machine was working. Then around 10, 11, the lights have gone off. There's a total power outage. You understand, the kids are here. Some of them have gone to school. Some of them have exams. Some of them have work. They are sitting here. The light is all out. We have about 92 people here. We've counted 92 people. No, they've only registered 8. So how do you think that by the day they are going to register 92 people? The EC director here has taken one machine out to go and repair it to say, I don't know, or the general power outage. We have had to give them generators. I brought 2 generators, including the wire. And we are not saying this in partisan way. We are saying this that whether the children or the 18-year-olds or the youth, they are NDC, MPP, CPP, or GUM. We are all in the same boat. We are all Ghanaians. Our democracy must matter. Just as my democracy matters or my voting matter. Everybody, that's why the Constitution gave everybody 1 vote. Even the President of Ghana has 1 vote. Every 18-year-old here has 1 vote. That is what the politics and the democracy is about. So we need to protect these children in a non-partisan way. So us providing the generator, making sure that they are comfortable, has nothing to do with politics.
Today, 6 a.m. I came here. They have not registered me and I have to go to school. And the light is also off, so they have to help us to do it fast so that I can go home and do whatever I want to do.
I came here around 6:30, but still I have not been registered. Oh, I sit here, sir. Today I have DK podcast, but I still there. They say the light is off and something. I don't even see nothing.
Came here around 6:30, but up to now we haven't registered. Yeah, but the light is off, so we are waiting.
Okay, so those are some views of new voters and one who is experienced. And people are supplying the Electoral Commission with generators and etc.
Cigars and drive them big cars and leave us with bitter scars. See the children.
We have one Ghana, and our banner must be peace, justice, and love. 3FM Sunrise. And our banner must be peace, justice, and love.
Should you wake up one morning in the riverside that you will
on 3FM.
the water that flows, gen blood, would you like it so? Everyone is mourning the beautiful people you know. Yes, our faces just low. Everybody say no, we don't want no war to settle no storm. Let's live life
3FM Sunrise.
We have one Ghana, the Tima, far from my head. Let's get together as one people. Let's make our country Ghana a better place to live for us and our children's children and generations yet unborn.
Let's connect with Mr. Albert Ahen of Kodeo. He worked also with the Electoral Commission before. It's 14 minutes after 8 on 3FM 92.7. Ms. Ahen, good morning. How are you?
Fine. I'm okay.
Great. I'm sure you monitored the registration process yesterday. What are your initial thoughts about the exercise so far?
Yeah, let me be honest with you. Kodeo hasn't been to the field yet. Like, we haven't been visiting police stations to know what is actually going on.
Right.
If anything at all, I've also been listening to the radio. So, it's like you also maybe reporting. I cannot precisely tell you what my people, have gone on the ground to see, except that we also been listening to the radio.
Now, you see, there have been reports about faulty machines, long queues, the rains disturbing the process, and the process being snail-paced. Was that to be expected?
Well, with regards to machines that are freezing or not working properly, I think it's normal in every registration exercise. You may not get all the machines to work properly, at a go. But my worry is the question of, people having to travel some distances before getting to the various polling stations. And with this, it's not a question of even going to the police station before knowing that this is going on. After the queues and the small issues, they are bound to happen. The concern of Kodeo is this fact that the district offices are quite a distance from most of the registrants.
Right.
That is the applicants.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you take all the capitals, Kumasi, Takoradi, Accra, even here, Accra, you find that people have to take structure. Some may take 2, 3 before they get to the final destination to do the registration. And I think I've spoken on this before. I was saying that if it's not even necessary to do it at the electoral area level, the EC can designate some centers in a particular district. If it's the Okaikwe district or whatever district that has been focused, we can have some centers located closer to the people, so that they would not necessarily have to travel all the way to the district offices.
Right.
But there could be a break, so that there'll be some respite. People will not need to travel all the way to the district offices, but to some designated centers, so that it's like you carrying the registration to them. I made an example of the Afram Plains, the Dwarf Island in the Afram Plains, the Teacher Island. You see, traditionally, every time there's registration, we have to hire boats and send people to the place. And they stay there till they finish and come back. You see, so I don't know what is happening to the Afram Plains chaps, but it's like you need to take a boat and travel all the way to Donkokrom before you can do registration. And that, I think, it doesn't augur well for anybody. It doesn't appeal to any applicant to hire a boat and come to the Afram Plains at Donkokrom to do registration. And this is the appeal that Kodeo has always been making, that let us try, if it's not even at the various electoral areas, let's break certain areas into some convenient points where the applicants can easily access. You see, what is the motivation? If, for example, you need to take 2-3 trucks before you get to the registration center, you will be demotivated and you will not bother to go and do it. That is the point that Kodeo is making.
I see. Well, some of the communities you mentioned yesterday, we had our reporters there who tell us that the people are complaining about how much it will cost for them to, first of all, go on those canoe rides. Number two, the fact that 15 people have died along those water bodies, and because they tried to cross and then the canoe capsized, lack of life jackets and all of that. So they're begging the EC to bring the process to them. But again, what does that mean for our democracy?
Oh, it's undemocratic, and that is the word I would use. You see, the argument the EC is propagating is that next year there will be some registration, and there it will be various electoral areas and so forth and so on. Yes. And that the time they have now is such that they cannot extend it. But at least, what I'm saying is that people like the Dwarf Island, in the Dwarf Island and the Diga Island, that is a special case. That is a special case. Unless, of course, we want to say that we don't want them to register. If we really want them to register, then there will be the need to send the registration to them. You see, let us try and break it so that at least, if it's not at the electoral area level, some distances should be in such a way that people will feel, okay to go there. In Accra, I told you, people can take about 3 trucks before they can get to a registration center. And that is not exactly what we actually need. So, I don't know whether I should too late for the EC to come in, but I'm sure a lot of people are talking. Maybe they will listen to us. Carry the registration to some people. Carry it to them.
Ms. Ahin, your organization has been a very important stakeholder in all of this, bringing your experience, having worked with the Electoral Commission and all of that. Have you had the opportunity to make these proposals to the Electoral Commission?
Oh, at least before even this exercise started, we have been speaking to some radio stations, and these sentiments have been carried across. These sentiments have been carried across. And I've had the occasion to talk to 1 or 2 people also at the EC. Of course, well, ostensibly maybe for this message to be carried across. See, we have been with the EC for a long time, and sometimes you converse with some of the directors, and you carry some sentiments across. You see, but the argument is that the district assembly election is so close that if they should do what we want them to do, then it means the whole legislature will be in jeopardy. You see, so as of now, nobody knows what's going to happen. I don't know what is going to happen to the people. The only thing is that there will be apathy. People will be refusing to go and register, and maybe wait for next year before they can do it. That is the only conclusion that we can draw.
That also
people
mean,
might not be.
That would also mean
motivated.
But that would also mean that they would not be able to participate in the district level elections if they do not have.
And already the district assembly election has always been plagued with apathy. People are not keen participating in the district assembly election. So this is also a disincentive actually, because already the percentages are not, very good when it comes to district assembly elections. I mean the turnout. So this is further going to worsen the situation of the attendance.
Do you get a sense that the Electoral Commission listens to any stakeholders at all?
Well, we cannot say in total that they don't listen, but I don't know where they are coming from this time. The argument that they are putting forward, I don't know. But if they could have listened to at least break it in a way to let people enjoy by carrying it to them, that would have served the purpose. It would have been nice, for example, to have certain centers created closer so that people will not travel that much.
Right.
But if they decide that they're not going to do it, it is very difficult for anybody to actually persuade them when they have made up their mind. It's really difficult. I don't know. It's a very difficult situation.
For the new voter who has to sacrifice time, money, and patience to get a voter ID card, to first of all exercise their franchise and to also perform their civic duty, would you say the weight and the resources and the stress is worth it at all?
Yeah, that is why I'm telling you that it's a disincentive. I gave you an example of the Diga people, the people in the Draft Island. Are you telling me that people can take a boat or maybe come together and hire a boat and come to Donkokrum to register? They will not do it. Those in the Diga areas, they will not hire a boat. You see, so if I'm, for example, going to take about 3 trotros or 4 trotros so I get to the district center, I will not. In the first place, money is difficult to come by these days. So what is the incentive? I saw on television yesterday some buses that I think are being hired by, I'm sure the political parties are doing that, busing people to some of these centers.
Right.
And that is even not something I would encourage. You see, the moment you start busing people, it throws the whole area into some confusion. And voluntarily, people should be able to get up and go and do it themselves, not people going there to bus them to go to the center. Boston, the history of Boston has been that most of the time it creates chaos. Chaos when it comes to people not having guarantees here and there and so forth and so on. So it's really it's a big problem, my brother.
Now, Ms. Ayin, the NDC has distanced itself from the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC. They have been advised by Mr. Farijan, former electoral commissioner, to get back to IPAC so that they can make their views heard. But they are screaming, if you want, for the want of better expression, from outside and telling the EC that they need to do A, B, C, and D, even to the point of threatening to sue the electoral commission on the way they are going about it. Chairman of the party says the EC deliberately took faulty machines to the strongholds of the NDC. Do you get the sense that the NDC is going about this in the right manner to express their views and dissatisfaction with the Electoral Commission?
No, I have always been saying that. And with a few friends that I have with the NDC, I've been telling them, if the football is going on at the stadium, you don't stand behind the stadium. You cannot watch anything. So the best thing to do is to be at the stadium yourself. So I've been talking to a few of them that I know. It's always good to be at the IPAC forum so that you can voice out your feelings, whatever you think is going wrong, you bring it out. Playing outside it will not augur well for them. It is participatory. The IPAC was instituted so that parties could come in with their concerns, and the EC will be the final arbiter. If even you voice out and the EC doesn't take it, at least you were there, you told them. But to operate from outside, I don't think it's good enough. So maybe my humble advice to the NDC is for them to join the bandwagon. Please join so that your views can be heard, your contributions can be added to the others, so that a common front will be organized for everything to go on smoothly.
On this call, Mr. Hain, do you think that IPAC should be giving some level of legal backing so that when they speak, the Electoral Commission must listen to them because they are also very important key stakeholders in the work of the Electoral Commission on behalf of the people and the Republic of Ghana?
Yeah, it's something very difficult because I know very well. I was a party to the beginning of IPAC. And the whole idea was mooted because the EC felt that anytime there's an election, anytime there's an exercise, every stakeholder, at least the important stakeholder, should be there to discuss it. You see, and the emphasis here is the discussion, and then the EC takes the decision finally. The EC, as I know, have always been listening, and the final decision is theirs. And they would not want to forgo that privilege. You see, that is something very, very vital. Because it is an independent institution, they would want to have the final say when it comes to election matters. And so for it to have a legal thing, that will actually disturb their independence. That is what the EC has always been protecting. So definitely it will be very difficult. But you see, it's always good to be there so that a consensus, the word here is consensus. They build a consensus each time an issue comes on board. And I think that is very, very important. All the parties are there, the EC is there, they discuss it and reach a consensus. But for it to be legal binding on the EC, I'm sure the EC will always resist that argument.
Is the Electoral Commission becoming overprotective of this independence that it enjoys? Because this independence emanates from the Constitution, which power is given to them by the people. But it does appear that when the Electoral Commission hears the people, it doesn't listen to the people. Are they being overprotective of this independence?
Well, sometimes people, you might be wondering why it's not listening. When it comes to listening, like the EC not listening to the people with regards to this particular registration exercise, it becomes a bother. But let us also know that it's an independent institution. And it is very good for the citizens, everybody, to protect that independence that the EC has. If that independence is let loose, so many things might happen. Yes, they are independent, but they should also listen. And they should listen attentively and sometimes cooperate so that they will be protecting their independence, but at the same time, they should also know that they are serving the people. The interest of the people matters. So it should go hand in hand. You have your independence, but at the same time, you should be able to help people to achieve their aims with regards to the democratic process. It should not be dictatorial as such. It should be, hand go, hand come.
Ms. Albert Ahina, thank you very much indeed for spending your morning with us. We're grateful.
Thank you, my brother.
And he's the national coordinator of the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO. It's 8:30. What has Johnson Asidu Nketia been saying? He's the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress. Listen to him.
In Savannah, Bole started at 9:30 a.m. Greater Accra, Odudu here, not far away from the EC headquarters. They started at 10 a.m. San Nergu in the northern region, midday. And even after the start, after some time, they were able to register only 2 persons. We have an issue of network challenge too. About 70% of the centers running online are slow, hence delaying the process. It's Ningo Pram Pram, Yellow Krobo, Lower Manya Krobo, Eastern region, Asojamai. All this happens to be the strongholds of the NDC. How come that our network system in the country is so politically selective. Bono East, Techimai North. The system is not able to print any card at all. Ashamai, machine breakdown. Biakuye, webcam camera not functioning. Esikado, machine breakdown. There is not more than 2 centers where these breakdowns are happening, which are in the stronghold of MPP. All the rest are in the stronghold of NDC. So, when we are complaining, this is the evidence.
When you're complaining, this is the evidence. We have one Ghana. Well, we don't know what your thoughts are, but you can always join us with your thoughts on Twitter or X. Hashtag is 3FM Sunrise. It's also live on Facebook at 3FM 927. If you go onto the stream, you can leave a kind comment. We'll read it for you.
You believe it?
Let it be clean, crisp, and sharp.
I still want to spin records for you. I want to see you smile. Choose peace, not war. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 3FM Sunrise.
So you heard Mr. Ahin, William. Said, you cannot say in total that the Electoral Commission doesn't listen, but...
You see, Johnny, if you look at the electoral processes over the years, it just tells me that we are not ready for the democracy that we are practicing. Simple, because this is, if you watch television and you see some other countries and the way they go about some of these things, it's a very simple exercise. But in Africa, and especially in West Africa, every time there's something about election,
make it complex.
It becomes some huge problem. Even on election day, during presidential and parliamentary elections, look at the venues where we vote. And you see, so I sit back and I'm asking, why can't we get this right once and for all? What is it? How difficult should this be? Register for election, and it's becoming a problem. We knew we were going to do this. Even, you know, that this the date for the district level election has been changed.
That's right.
If we say that we are ready to practice democracy, but not ready to go the Western way, let's find a way to do it that will suit our circumstances.
And the date for that election was changed because the participants in that election say that we are supposed to serve for 4 years. The 4 years is not up, and the Electoral Commission wants to hold an election.
You see, so
to do what?
And over the years, as Mr. Ahin said, when it's time for this particular election, there's some apathy. And so a certain party, is it the MPP, suggested that they are going to make it
continuous registration.
No, I mean they were going to vote for the district chief executives.
Right.
And I thought that was going to whip up some interest
by 2018.
Because if you look at the various communities in our country, you can see clearly that the district assembly system is not working. And so people are disinterested in the whole district assembly system. The decentralization process that we began some 30, 40 years ago, it's not working. You go to some of the assemblies, even where they sit to work, the economics are not clicking. The desks that they work on, logistics. So it's a whole big issue. And it affects the way people think about this whole election. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if they go and vote for the assembly people, the assemblymen, they don't see them, they don't see the DCE, the roads are bad, nothing is happening.
But the truth of the matter is that the assemblyman, the unit committee, and the rest, they can do very little.
Exactly the point I'm making.
And the people go to them demanding for their pound of flesh. And they leave the MCs and the DCs alone.
You see, so at the end of the day,
the DCs and MCs have to just answer to Jubilee House.
You see, so
once the president is happy with you.
I'm just speaking on Mr. Ahin's point about the apathy. And I'm trying to unpack the reasons why there's so much apathy. You understand what I'm saying? So, and he made a point that why should somebody travel from point A to point B, risking his or her life over some river? And look at the number of people who have been dying on our water bodies.
That's right.
Around these villages and towns. Why should I go and risk my life on the voter league, black or white voter, and go
And you
die.
might not even get a chance to register because for some people, they've made that perilous journey on the voter
Yes.
league. You go there,
And they
you have
die.
somewhere to be, right? And for me, I've been following the different reports, and our reporters are stationed everywhere. On day one, from what I heard, the process wasn't smooth at all. And for an EC who insists that this is the way to go, I would have thought that things would have been so tightened up that day one's reportage would have put us to shame. Because if you say that, you know, the districts that you are setting, the centers you are setting up in the districts are sufficient, and, you know, there are so many calls for you to expand the scope, and you say no, I would have expected that it would have gone off without a hitch. If you say you are starting at 7, as you heard, no longer General Mosquito Chairman Insedu Nketia said that in the Savannah region, for example, it started at noon, and the political undertones of what is going on now we can't ignore. If you listen, for example, to NDC communicators speaking about this, what they are alleging is that in what they consider their strongholds, they think that the discrepancies are happening there more. That is the belief of the party, that there is some deliberate attempts, they say, by the EC to not allow persons in certain areas to have smooth access at all. That is what they allege. And I think at a time like this, the EC's main concern is also to ensure that we don't hear any of these grumblings. That way, by 2024, after the elections have been concluded and the people of Ghana have decided who is leading this country, we don't have to go backwards and be going to court and this happened during that time. Can we get the registration right?
The leadership of the country is not just the president, which is what the EC is focused on. William raised a very important point that had earlier been raised by Mr. Ahin, right? I asked one question, that if I'm not able to get my card now and I'm a new voter, I don't already have the old voter's card, which we will look at next year with the EC suggestion. That means I can't participate in choosing who my assemblyman is.
Exactly.
My unit committee chairman, I can't, which means that the works department, whatever, blah, 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 I live in the community, but I can't participate in it. And that is a disincentive that the Electoral Commission is visiting on me, because they are making an excuse that, 1, the district assembly elections are too close, 2, they don't have money, and 3, next year we will do another registration, so I should
No,
wait.
Johnny, has the issue of money come up?
Yes, I mean, it came up, but I won't be 18 again. I'm turning 18 this year.
But
I have waited for my time to be 18. Now it gets to my turn, and you're telling me.
But why should the EC be talking about money at this time? Because there's an information technology department that offers information technology services to all the divisions within the EC. And it is for them to raise the budget and make sure that they have the money and prepare for this ahead of time.
Before they start.
So we can't be talking about money today. We could have spoken about money yesterday when the process is started. So it is just, I don't know whether it's just incompetence, ineptitude, or just lack of foresight, or I don't know. Because at the end of the day, if you say we are practicing democracy, as I said earlier, this is not how democracy works. Democracy is not something that should come and frustrate individuals. Democracy is not something that should come and kill people. To the extent that we have election, 8 people are dead and nobody's people remember all these things.
Yes,
so when you talk about elections, they are not eager to go and suffer. And they will know that when the people are also voted for, they'll just get the tag honorable, and nothing happens after that.
You know that since 19 at least since I started practicing journalism and started reporting on elections, their front plains area have always sometimes delayed. You know that. Because sometimes they're even given a special dispensation to vote, the day after, because we couldn't cross the place to the place over the tides. And this morning you heard Felicity. She said the tides are high.
Yes.
So even fisher folks whose job it is to be plying those places, she asked them to retire today and go back tomorrow. Now, me who is not a fisherman, who is just a teacher who has been transferred there, or a national service person who is there, who is trying to put body and soul together, you're trying to risk my life by crossing rivers just to get a card to decide who gets what.
And after you've crossed the river, all the tools that you're supposed to use to and conduct
are not functioning.
Yes, and now this IT department again is supposed to ensure the overall functioning of the IT systems. It's supposed to ensure the development and maintenance of the IT infrastructure of the commission. It's supposed to provide inputs for the conduct of negotiations on IT service level agreement with service providers, ensure the development of an effective and efficient IT security system. So if there's a head of IT, and every day, every time there's an election or there's a conduct of an exercise, voter registration exercise, these things happen. Why do we have that department? Why do we have a head? And that's something that is happening all over this country. People just... No, of course. People just get jobs and nothing happens and the status quo just...
Honestly, one of the ones where William asked about those who go on diplomatic missions and we
what
never...
do they do?
I think before the year ends and we have to hear from them.
No, but quite frankly, every time there's a voter registration exercise or there's an election, all these things are on their website as I keep reading.
But guys, quickly, Johnny, I see you clicking your fingers there. Before we do that, the Coalition of Progressive Assembly members in 2019 dragged the EC to court. This same thing, we will register you in the districts only for the EC to be directed by the courts to change tactics, and then they opened up the scope.
The EC doesn't listen.
So why is it that every time the EC has to be taken to court in order to make a decision? If you did it in 2019 and you saw that you had to go there, hello.
As we speak, the EC has a legal department. There's an injunction. They are going ahead. You think the EC listens to them?
Well, they did at the time when the NDC was looking to do their elections. Even before they were served with the injunction, they told the NDC that we'll be pulling back because of this injunction. Look at the optics. Look at the optics.
Acquiring the voter ID card is necessary.
The economic is hard. Just right now, I'm not feeling anything. I just finished What Technical Institute this year. I'm not getting any job right now.